Hey guys, it's Mike from the Off-Grid Shop here with the Off-Grid crew. Today we're actually going to run down, I got clickbaited the other day on a YouTube thumbnail and I was pretty excited that someone had made an eco-friendly mansion. So what we decided to do, guys, is in this video, what we're going to do, we're going to watch the video of this mega mansion that's supposed to be an environmentally eco-friendly certified place up in New York State. We're going to break it down what it actually really takes to make this house completely self-sufficient off-grid. I'm sort of one of those people that like to have a decent sized house, as long as it's off-grid and eco-friendly. It doesn't use all the resources in the world, hey Ilka? So I've got a resource budget Ilka's given me. To me, we all have different opinions of off-grid living, but for me, to be self-sufficient off-grid, the property has to be self-sufficient for energy, and that includes vehicles. So we'll start here on the roof here.
I do think it's worth noting before we begin that they have said a few times that this house is like the leading example of its kind in North America. That's a really big statement.
Yep.
If you're going to put it up as an environmental example.
Start with the roof here. Now they've gone with one of these green roofs. I'm not a really big fan of them at all. You guys worked out the solar system, yeah? How big do you think it was?
Yeah, we roughly worked it out on Pylon. It looked like it was about 56 panels, and we counted the cells. I think we worked out at like the Maxion 3s, weren't they?
Yeah, 72 cell panels, so that'd be around 400 watt mark.
Yep. I think it is 20 kilowatt actually.
That is?
Yeah, 50 times 400, I think that's 20 kilowatt.
So it's a 20 kilowatt system.
Yeah,
that's right.
Cool. So it's about the same as I've got a 145 square metre house and I have a 25 kilowatt solar system on the roof of that, to give you an example. So
I bet yours would perform a lot better than that one.
I'm pretty sure it
by
does.
the way they look.
Cool. So we reckon it's about a 20 kilowatt solar system. So on average, New York State, the temperatures in New York is about 11 degrees, so it's quite a cold place. So yeah, they definitely want to do some work with heating there and design this building around keeping the warmth in and using those spaces for heating. So, because yeah, the average temperature in New York State is about 11 degrees.
It's all one big room too, so you can't can't isolate certain rooms when they're not being used. It's just heating everything or cooling everything all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, so we've got one here in the office. We brought one for testing. There's ethanol fireplaces, and basically one of those bottles is 4 litres. We use pretty much 2 litres every single day. Half a bottle a day we were using.
Was it just on like during work hours or?
Yeah. So
it's a very small room that's heating.
Yeah. How big do you reckon this room is? 30 square metres? 25?
Something like that.
Yeah, 8 by
Tiny.
8 by 5.
Like it's not too much smaller of a system than the one they displayed there, whether there's multiple of those.
Yeah, well you see there's one hanging from the roof and there's
It's that main one in the lounge room that looks huge.
And they look like they're plumbed in, but they're terrible. Like they really don't heat the room much at all, do they?
No.
And then Aiden told me I was poisoning with carbon monoxide or something, so I stopped using it. So
No way it's making any difference to that place.
no way. It is for ambience.
It's for ambience.
Yeah, 100%. That doesn't help the sustainability of the house. So
It helps with the price tag.
That's it, exactly. Some more.
Even the design, if we're talking about climate, so not just in terms from an environmental or sustainable point of view, but you know, if you imagine, like I kind of think about New York as being quite a cold place. And even if it was heated and you're inside and it's heated, but just like you wouldn't feel warm. If you're in a kind of a colder climate and you've got this big beach style kind of open planned house, I just don't think you'd feel that coziness that you'd want to feel in that type of climate.
Yeah. So that's one of the biggest things that people get wrong, and builders especially, is building envelopes when building. I think these guys are probably the seal, you know, they've done a really good job on that, but the size of the space, like Aiden was saying before, if you really want to be energy efficient, heat a space, about heating smaller spaces. And these guys have what they say 40-foot ceilings. What's that meters now? Divide that by 3.
Like 12. 13.
12 or 13 metre ceilings, which is crazy. So the more air that you're creating, the more things you require to heat. The 40-foot ceilings would be ideal in a cooler climate because the hot air is always going to rise, which is going to keep the cool air down the bottom.
You mean a warmer climate?
Sorry, a warmer climate, exactly. So it'd be better in a warmer climate, not a cooler climate. I think, there's 40-foot ceilings are not ideal for a cold place like New York.
I think the best thing they could have done is done heated flooring throughout the whole place. Like the amount of money they burn on alcohol and stuff, you might as well just heated flooring the whole way through. All the heat comes.
Warmth in the concrete floors.
Yeah.
That would be the go. I think they did mention having some form of underfloor heating.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there is in one of the documents. There's in-ground heating or whatever it's called.
Because that would probably be one of the most efficient ways if you're using the geothermal to heat the floor, and it's like a concrete floor, and then store the heat in the floor as well.
And it's closest to you.
But that's what they've done. They've used that. Your feet will be warm, but because of the size of the spaces, it's just going to dissipate and not really the advantage of it.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I was thinking about this house also because I mean, I guess I stopped short at the extravagant stuff because I just think similarly, like I imagine if everybody had a right to that in the world, and it's not feasible for resources on the planet. But I do think there's something really magical and beautiful about spaces like that because kind of it invokes dreams and your imagination. But I think that those places need to be more public for more people. When we're talking about, there's no multiple spaces that we can use for the same thing. I think a number of people need to be able to use this space, not for it to be an exclusive resident for one family.
Imagine if there was sort of, 4 or 5 families living there and make it a lot more feasible, or just like the public communal areas for it.
That's what those YouTubers do. You see those rich YouTubers, it's like a 20-year-old and he's got all his friends living in a mansion like this. There's like 30 people in there.
Charge them rent?
Oh, it depends how successful they are, but yeah.
Maybe that's what we need to do to get our YouTube channel going.
That's it.
It's the idea of a community, so I suppose like communities were really big here in Australia back in the 70s with things like that, of people getting together and sharing resources. And I think the problem with communities, they can be able to hit or miss. If you get a really good community, because it's people working together, things will be great. But if not, I think it's why people end up wanting their own private pool to stay away from people.
Yeah.
I have a lot to say about community, so maybe I could do a separate video. But I will just say, I think the main thing with community is like you've just got to have the right agreement from the beginning.
Yeah. And people sticking to it.
Yeah.
No cold vibes.
So with the pool here, so this is a heated pool indoors that we're talking about in there. So that would use a ton of energy, even though it's probably using the geothermal. Didn't they mention in the video that the solar mainly feeds the pool?
They did, but we're not sure on how educated like saying that is.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So like a 20 kilowatt system, really. But if it's going to be heated, it's not going to run that. Is the reality. It's
Pool that size.
Yeah, there's no way that the solar system would just purely heat that by itself. It would need the geothermal. But some stuff that they could have done there to take advantage of that is actually use that excess heat to heat the house. Because literally, one of the, I'm pretty sure they don't have a pool blanket that goes on it to keep the warmth in. But you can see there, you look at those lights up there, all those LED lights. There was another thing when Ilka was doing the research, they advertise that this place has a light every 6 feet outdoors, is that right?
And every 12 feet there's a speaker, and the entire place is wired with Sonos.
So it's pretty cool. So just looking at those LED lights there, how many LED lights are there alone?
2, 4,
16
8,
in that photo.
In that square space? But I'm pretty sure they could have, as a minimum, dropped every 2 lights and put a bit more space between them and still probably would have got just as good lighting there.
Yeah, it's the new thing to do nowadays. They just get real small downlights and have hundreds of them.
It's great. The amount of places I've had to go do energy audits on, and I remember this one lady in Sydney, she was like, Mike, I just spent a fortune on LED lights and my power bill's gone through for some more, I don't understand why. And when I got there, she used to have 4 lights in this room, and then she had 4 LED lights every square metre after. I think the guy put 54 LED lights in. And it was insane. I was like, that's the reason your power bill's gone through the roof, because you have so many lights. But all the LEDs, but you put so many more, using more power than we had there before, so it's crazy. But just little simple things like that, that's unnecessary with lights there. The other thing here that I'd really think about, and this is what is wind. Because these guys would actually have access to wind being on the coast. But one of the big things with wind is the places that neighbours don't like the look of them.
Like wind turbines.
Yeah, well, one of our customers, Doug, his neighbour's a lawyer, paid him 25 grand to remove the wind turbine and take it down.
Wow.
So just for the side of it. So he paid him more than what it was worth to remove it.
I wonder if people pay people to take windmills down. They're kind of older and romantic, aren't they?
Yeah, but they're sort of Australian, out the back of nowhere.
They make a lot less noise.
Yeah.
So, Mike, you were saying earlier, do you think it's possible to design a closed-loop, self-sufficient mega mansion?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I think it all comes down to being smart with your design, having multiple uses for multiple rooms and things like that. Not taking large spaces, but it all comes down to roof space. A lot of these, you look at all these mega mansions, and if you look at this guy's channel and have a look, they all start with a deck around the bottom, and then the next place is a bit smaller, so that bit gets the sun, the next bit is sun. They end up on the roof space, this tiny little bit of the roof space to whack 4 solar panels on there.
And they have to keep half of that for the helicopter pad.
Yep, exactly. And then the golf course up top to do all that sort of stuff. So if you design, it all comes down to design. Like, we do have a customer, he has underfloor heating, he has a sauna, he has a huge pool.
Bigger than that one for sure.
Yep. The pool is gas heated though, that was his choice. He wanted to do it by gas. Where I think he could have done it by so he actually does have the pool heating on the roof of the house. Which actually we could do a video on that place there and break that down too. Those guys they'd be willing to have a conversation with us. But yeah, they had full underground heating in the house, underfloor heating, heated pool, sauna, everything like that. And the system was what, 13 to 15 kilowatts of solar panels, you reckon?
Yep, I reckon about that.
What they got? 20 kilowatt hours of battery storage.
Yep.
And what's their inverter? 10 or 15 kVA?
It's a 10 Quattro with a 5.
ABV,
10.
yeah.
Yeah, so but they do have pretty much, most of this stuff, but that house there is a 1-bedroom house. You look at that house, it's got a bathroom, a bedroom, a living room, an office, and the living room's a TV room, the outside bits of the TV, they've used a lot of the spaces in that place there. So this stuff can be done, and we actually do have people that have these sort of luxuries off-grid, and, they spent sort of 50 to 60 grand on that solar system to make it happen,
And they said it was the greenest rated one in America or something like that.
This place?
Yeah.
Well, it got awards and it's LEED certified, which is also a voluntary certificate. It's not like something that all places are measured by. But I mean, I don't know, you kind of get the opinion when you do the research that there aren't that many places that are sustainable if that's something to be measure it by.
Absolutely. And I can see very little structural design that has anything to do with passive solar or any energy efficiency in the house. It's just huge open spaces. I want a mansion and then I'll add a few bits to make it slightly more economically friendly. It's not, I'm going to design my house around being a ecologically friendly building. It's the passive solar is basically negated with the size of the ceilings and the likes. I want
Wind or the glass. But I mean, they have built. It looks like they've built, like the architects built the place to the site, which is about it being, really exclusive and huge views across the bays. But they haven't built it to the site in terms of the environment and the climate of the site.
I think they've done whatever they could to get that award. They've read exactly what they had to do to get their name on that award and sort of gone to that. Because you look at where the solar is and everything, it's especially, we looked it up on Pylon, went through the years and everything.
Yeah.
It's just so shaded throughout the whole year. And yeah, the amount of appliances they have and stuff. And I don't even know what they meant by geothermal. Like, what was it? Just the
We didn't see that,
geothermal
did we?
heating and cooling, and I'd love to know
Did
the
they explain it
extent
though, or?
of that. They don't explain any detail of basically anything here, how any of the eco-friendly stuff works. But I'd love to see just how much of an impact that geothermal makes, because I suppose if that's doing a lot of the heating, then it's not all going to waste. But also, is it really going to be able to heat that sort of size space?
So they said the utility bills were less than $1,000 a month. So I've done the numbers. So in America, their energy is actually quite cheap. Most people pay about 6 cents a kilowatt hour in America. The most expensive energy in America is at 10 cents a kilowatt hour. So we just got the most expensive. So we got the most expensive in this house at $1,000 for utility bills. We'll just talk about as energy. They're consuming from the grid after they're using their solar. So what would happen in this place here, they'd never send any feedback to the grid. It'd be all use, self-consumed. And they're still pulling 333 kilowatt hours on average a day from the grid. That's huge. So, and especially being up so far, you'd want a lot extra solar because you would have such, on the equator, because you're so far away from the equator, you'd actually have such short days and not be able to make up enough solar production. So you'd want more solar and a lot more batteries to make this house self-sufficient. So what we're going to do, guys, what you'll actually see in the next video, we're actually doing a full design service on this here. And we're going to make up exactly how many batteries and how many panels, and we can actually overlay it in a program on top of the property and show you exactly how much solar would be required on this place here to make it happen.
So I still reckon if you sell those 2 crappy artworks that were 350 grand, that's the off-grid system sorted.
So you reckon?
That'll be my budget.
You reckon 350 US you can do this?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What do you reckon, Aiden? Like just to power the house the way it is, no changing anything else like this, attacking that 330 kilowatt hours, how much do you reckon you'd require to spend to do that?
Look, I reckon you could achieve it if you could fit enough solar up there.
For 350 grand?
Yep.
We'll make it work.
Let's try for it.
We won't even use Jinko panels, I mean...
Junkos.
Yeah,
And then what I'm going to do is use 350 grand and see what other property we could purchase instead of retrofitting that one.
Yeah, totally. I reckon just on that property, if someone come to us and said, hey Mike, can you do a design to make this work? I reckon we'd be looking at $1 million. That's, I reckon, $1 million US dollars to make that place self-sufficient from a power point of view.
Yep. Which is such a small portion of the property value, like $1 million, and it's a 25 million thing, and you're fully off grid.
When you think about it like that, it's nothing. Well guys, if there are any other McMansions you'd like to see us to rip down and see actually how they'd be self-sufficient, put in the comments down below. And if you're looking or thinking about getting an off-grid solar system, we do offer a service for off-grid solar designs. Check out our website, theoffgridshop.com.au, and make sure you subscribe so you can see the boys do a design and how much it really took. Let's see who's right, whether the $1 million or 350 grand can actually take this place off-grid. Until next time, guys, make hay while the sun shines.